I was a worship leader for 10 or 11 years, and I was not good at writing congregational songs or worship songs. And the stuff I love to write, or most naturally write, are these kind of folk songs. It's interesting. I was thinking about the sort of original concept of sacred and profane. It doesn't mean that profane in the sense of evil, if it's not. It meant just what songs are specifically used within a worship context and what songs are not. And I felt like I spent a lot of time, like a decade, in the sort of sacred context, thinking about what songs fit well in that. But the songs that I actually like to write are, quote, profane songs. They're songs that are coming from a kingdom context, a context of faith in Christ, but not necessarily, they're not written to be working in a sacred context, right?
Right. But they definitely work on your heart.
Right. They're still Christian songs.
Yeah.
They're still songs that I hope and intend to invite into the body or to encourage the body, but they're not being used in a worship service per se, right? But there still are these similarities. Like when I was leading worship, one of the big words that I felt like the Lord would have me just kind of sit on a particular term for a year or whatever. And one of the big words and it was a big learning experience for me as a worship leader, was participation. And I just came back again and again to this idea of, if you're singing something that people cannot participate in, like, you're not doing your job in the sacred context.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
And maybe I'm getting off the original question, but.
Well, I want to dig into that later, but keep going.
But there's an idea that a lot of the music that is produced by the worship industry is actually for solo performers. And it features like an exceptional soloist.
Like with a really high voice.
Yeah. And so what I found was I was having to rework a lot of songs so that were actually appropriate for participation.
Yeah.
Which a lot of times
should tell you a lot. If someone wrote something that's supposedly for congregational singing and you have to fix it before it can be used that way,
right?
It tells you how much the industry has shaped that. I was on the Overthinkers podcast a few weeks ago, and we were talking about this. We were doing the math that 60+% of, well, first of all, nearly all the main worship songs are coming from 4 record labels associated with 3 megachurches and then one other group. And at least 60% of the songs, most of those are owned by secular record labels. And anyway, we did the math, and at least 60% of those songs had the fingerprints of a non-Christian music producer on.
Well, that's going the wrong direction.
Right. And that's not to say there aren't good people in that industry doing their best, and that God can't work within limitations, and that great songs haven't escaped that factory and done good work in human souls. But that's quite an assembly line to produce when you are supposedly writing songs for corporate singing, when there's that many boxes you have to check along the way that have nothing to do with corporate singing before you have any hope of your song making it into corporate singing.